Welcome back, Rage Nation. Got myself Pete here.
That's not really exciting.
You got Senior Dixon.
I don't think that's appropriate.
And we got Monsieur Leopard.
Explorers deserved it. No.
Absolutely.
I was disgusted. I cannot believe they've done this.
Bayou's wacky. Bayou's not good. It's just nonsense.
I disagree on that. That's not possible.
We're getting the band back together. We're on a mission. Yeah.
Now we've got a whole new list of things to complain about.
Welcome back, Rage Nation. We are at it again. Got myself Pete here, and with us we got Dixon back from his tour guide that he gave for a while with his good friend. Dixon, glad to have you back.
So happy to be back. It was a nice week of a lot of walking and carrying my friend.
Yeah, so we actually just recorded, and it's going to release here soon. I think tomorrow, actually, the Arcanist guide for GG4, where we pick basically the masters that we like and masters that we don't like into each strategy. Dixon, I think you'll like it if you listen to it. We had Brody on, of course, but we also had Jeff from Defective Dice on, and Jeff has a different kind of pool of masters, so it was kind of cool to see the differences that we all picked for what we like and don't like into certain strategies.
Okay. We started. I'm so sad that I missed the first one.
That's okay. You're getting in on the first one on this series, which is, of course, models that we think need buffed, and I think it's appropriate to start with the Bayou.
Yeah, I do have like some answers to some of these, but like I do know that they have problems.
Yeah.
So sad.
And some of them I don't even I don't know what you would want to fix, but yeah, we'll see if we can come up with some good ideas here. But before we get into it, make sure that you guys are checking us out. You can do that on the YouTube channel. We're starting to put at least a couple videos out a month. It could be just clips from each episode. It could be a battle report, which we haven't done in a bit, but definitely going to get that on soon. Yeah, lots of different things on the YouTube channel that you can enjoy, strategy videos, etc. Also, you can check us out on Discord. Discord is always popping off. We have lots of people from all over the world discussing random Malifaux and just worldly nonsense. I will say we had a fireside chat. So some people don't know about this yet, but I'll plug it real quick. So we did a fireside chat last night, and all that is it's basically when, usually on Saturday, American time zone, I usually have like 2 hours or so where I'm just like, you want to know what? I'm not doing anything. So let me go ahead and do a fireside chat. And I basically just go into the fireside chat channel on Discord. I have a voice channel there set up for it. And I'll just sit in there. I usually end up smoking, some tobacco, cigars, pipes, whatever. And people just come in that are in the Discord, and we just talk about Malifaux, just things going on, world events, whatever. We feel like, solving the problems of the world, either in Malifaux or real life. And I think last night we had like 10 people in there. It was a pretty good amount. We were just sitting in there. People were like on mute because they were working. Some people were just, chatting, drinking a beer or whatever. It was just a good time. So if you want to participate in that, I'd say we usually do it at least once a month. However, this month so far, I've done it 2 times. So it could even be more than that, depending on time things. So definitely join the Discord to get in on that action if you want. And then, finally, if you want to support us directly, you can do that at patreon.com/RageQuitWire, where you can support us and also get content early. Like the Goose here, you get to hang out while we're live recording, and you can even ask questions in the chat or just chat with other people in the chat while we're discussing whatever the episode topic is. And then finally, if you want to also use our affiliate link when you buy stuff from Weird directly, just go to Give Us Your Money, Please, Thank You, -weird.com/RageQuitWire. And a little bit, like very little bit, goes to the podcast, but it builds up over time. So it's nice to get boxes that Dixon and I maybe have put off for a while on buying. So, Dixon, I decided to start with the Bayou for Let's Fix Some Models because I actually think Bayou has a pretty decent pool of things that maybe aren't like unplayable, but definitely on the lower end of things.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I personally don't want to pick what I consider the worst of the worst, except for one. One of them is gonna be the obvious ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's a few models that I'm like, if this model is like just a tiny bit better, he would be picked at least, one out of 5 times.
Yeah, I think that's a good point because a couple of my models that I picked are not like unplayable garbage, but it's like I think power creep has just left them behind. Like they actually used to be really good models, but as kind of not even really good, but just solid models. And as power creep has kind of progressed, you just never see them anymore. And there's some models that I just think need to be brought more because they're very iconic and cool.
Yeah. I would just, hey, Photon's in. Nice.
Ayo. Photon, I don't know if you saw Dixon started his own podcast.
Yeah, I did an episode with him.
Oh, nice.
He's
putting them in the can quick.
Oh, yeah. He's been diligent. I was listening. Like, that's part of the things that we were talking about. Yeah.
Nice. So, yeah, getting into it, let's go ahead and get into our picks here. So, Dixon, what is your first pick for a Bayou model that you're like, I would like to see this buff, please?
I mean, I'm going to go with Francois because I'm not thinking that you're going to mention him.
Okay. So, Francois Lacroix, who got nerfed into the ground for sure.
Yeah, he's been benched. Like, it's so sad to see a model being Yasunori'd so hard. And it's kind of funny because, like, when they nerfed him into the ground, there were some people that are like, he's fine. He's perfectly fine. And as the months progress, those same people are like, this model's trash. Like, it's like, we tried to warn you.
Yeah. And it's mainly because they made him kind of like this weird tank, but also trying to do damage. And the problem is, like, you need so many rams to make him work, right? Like you only get one free ram, and it's only for the first thing you do. So it's not even like, oh, you can pick this on anything. It's like, no, your first action, you can get a free ram or whatever. And it's not good. It's a bad model.
Yeah, he's honestly, it's just very basic. Choose either resilience or damage and buff that part of him. Because, like, they didn't need to remove, like, 4 things out of the model. They could have just removed 2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you want him to be the tank, okay, give him some, like, King's Wall type abilities and be like, okay, this is our tanky model. If you want him to be the spiky damage guy, okay, make him a little more fragile than the other kin models and make him spiky.
Yeah, I mean, the bigger they are is actually a perfect thing because they could just give him, like, defense 6.
Yeah.
And then he would be like a tank against like defensive attacks, like a defense-based attack. So, because now he's defense 7 for all intents and purposes against like opposed duels from like 90% of the game.
Yeah, and I think that's fine, right? And it's just, like you said, there's just too many cute things that they're trying to have him do. Yeah. And yeah, I actually quite agree with you. And I'll go ahead and just say he was actually one of my picks. So we definitely agree on Francois.
Yeah, I think he got forgotten, and that's the main reason why. Okay, I mean, I can pick an honorable mention if you want to keep talking about Francois then.
I mean, yeah, let's go ahead and hear an honorable mention then.
Spawn Mother.
Okay.
Yeah, I want Spawn Mother to be easier to make the gups.
Yeah, it's kind of like weird, right? With the whole, it's almost like this weird grow mechanic thing with her eggs, and it's like, why not just make it like an easy summon?
Absolutely. I mean, there's like a few things also, like, why does she have Infect in her melee attack? Like, just, give her like healing stuff. That way she can attack and also move around. Give her something that helps the gups.
Yeah.
Just anything else other than like make her a wishy-washy model. Because right now she's not a terrible model, but she has been completely taken out by other models in the same category. So I would rather she have a unique thing. And if her unique thing is gups are better around her and she also gets to put out gups like nobody's business, that gives her a job.
Yeah, I would say because when you look at Gups, they're not actually too bad. The problem is you just don't want to pay points for them. So it's like if you
Correct.
can make her summon them, but then also make things happen with her card with them, like
Correct.
maybe the ability to make them, drop a scheme marker or make them take interact actions, even if they're insignificant, or
Yeah.
make them just get plus stats or, damage. Something
Yeah.
cool would be kind of, nice on
Yeah.
the card.
Reduce damage while within 6 inches of Spawn Mother. Call it like a mother's love or something like that. I don't know. It's just she is not focused, and she doesn't even have a job. She's more like a kind of a bad mix of too many abilities. So yeah, I would like her to be more focused into making Gups and making Gups better.
Yeah, and Photon actually has a pretty good question that I think would be cool to talk about before we get into our next cards here. But Photon says, do you think that Weird goes a little too far when fixing up stuff? And then also, do you think there is a level that Weird could hit where they do touch stuff, but it doesn't really turn that model into garbage? So kind of two questions. One,
Yeah.
the first one, do you think Weird goes a little too far when they're fixing up stuff? And I think that could be both ways. Do you think they nerf it too hard? And then do you think they buff it too good? So I don't know what you think with that, Dixon.
So, the nerf it too hard has been rare. We have seen it, but not as bad as like Francois or Yasunori. To the point that we make fun of those models.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, when's the last time you think they went too far with a nerf?
Oof.
I actually think it was Kin. I think it was Kin in general.
Yeah, I think it was Kin in general because like it was. I used to joke about the whole better nerf Irelia, which was a video game meme that like for the longest time they kept nerfing a character named Irelia and she wasn't even meta.
Yeah.
So like they did that to Kin. It's like Kin wasn't meta, but like I remember there were like 2 or 3 erratas, back to back to back where they just nerfed Kin, and we're like, why? What's the purpose? They're not played.
Yeah, they won one event in the UK, and apparently that was justification enough to nerf them.
Better nerf the Kin, or, instead of saying better nerf Irelia.
The last time I think a model got nerfed a little too far was actually Mikhail from Jed's crew. Because he was stupid good, which I was like, okay, yeah, he needs to probably be touched, but I think they nerfed him too far. Because they made it where it's not a place anymore; it's a push when he does his thing, and then they also took his sword down to a 1-inch melee. And I was like, come on, what? Really? This great sword's gonna only be 1 inch now, and that seemed not good.
Okay, I mean, I still wouldn't. You're right on like he got touched pretty bad, but I don't know if I still qualify that as on the level as like both Yasunori and.
I agree with that. Yeah. I don't think he's unplayable, but I think he's way more difficult to pilot and kind of get what you want out of him.
He went from like a dumb, stupid piece, like a dumbbell. He went from a dumbbell to like this like weird contraption that you have to like do certain things to do muscle exercises. Like he's way too complicated.
Yeah. Whereas before it was just like, oh, he's gonna get in contact with me, and now I have to attack him, and he's 2-inch reach and I'm 1, so now I got to waste an AP to engage him.
Yeah. So, my opinion, the very last one was Kin. And after that, there have been nerfs that have like made the models be picked less, but I don't consider them the same.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. That being said, the other side, I think they did that with Angel Eyes, where Angel Eyes is everywhere. Like, it's crazy. It's not like she's winning a lot, though, so maybe, there's something there.
I think there's a needle to thread there, because obviously if they want to sell models, I think buffing is good.
Yes.
So if I see something not selling as a weird person, then I would go, okay, I'm going to buff this. So let me go ahead and make it, maybe towards the top end of just really, really good.
Oh, yeah.
But I think a lot of people would argue Angel Eyes is really, really good now, and maybe that's a little too much, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple. Like I said, I'm not gonna mention these in my list. But Tuco, he got buffed, but he's still not gonna touch the table. Girly Magoo, or what's his name? Bowman got nerfed, and she still sees the table. And I still can think like, okay, you can lower her cost to 7, and she still would be like within, fair. So they're not in my list, but you can see like people is like, oh, but they still get played. I'm like, yeah. I mean, Tuco doesn't get played at all, but he wasn't getting played at all before. So his buff didn't do anything.
And that's kind of the thing, right? You also have to be like, okay, what is either the keyword or the faction needing? And when they buff it, sometimes I feel like they buff a model and it's like, well, we didn't really need this, so I'm still not going to play it.
Right.
Nobody was asking for this.
So, okay. So we kind of like, because like people are going to say, so you guys stop talking about Bayou. It's like, well, we kind of like setting up the parameters for the rest of the picks. Because I think we should have done this before we talked about the models, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, Photon put out a good question, so we had to actually talk about it.
Yeah. And of course, when the patrons ask a question, I definitely like to reference it.
Right.
So I'll go with my next model that I think needs kind of like a buff. So this one's definitely, I think, needed, and maybe this model's getting some of the M2E kind of like was good in M2E, so maybe it got punished a little bit in 3E. Okay. And I'm gonna pick Bert Jebsen. This guy is pig trouble in Little China, and he's not unplayable. Like I said, that's not kind of like the thing we're looking at here, but I think his biggest problem is he just dies. Right? He just ends up getting smoked. He can get I wouldn't say one-shotted, but he can get pretty close to being killed in one swing.
Yeah, he's missing a couple of things. Like, you look at his stats, and they don't make sense for the character. Like, he's willpower 6 instead of defense 6. Yeah. So, like, you could flip those two around, and it would make more sense. His fast reflexes don't actually work as well because of, focus attacks and him being an enforcer.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you flip his stats, defensive willpower, and make him a henchman. And that would fix it for me.
Yeah, and I think the other thing about Bert is he seems a little unfocused at times, just because when you look at his attacks, he kind of has this weird Sui kind of synergy that's supposed to be there because, of course, he gets boxed with Gracie. Right. So he has like Sikkim Girl on there. And then you look at his skinning knife, and then it's supposed to be this kind of like damage / reposition. And then his bonus action is to ping self to get fast, or the shockwave, which is damage 2 against movement. And it seems like going a little bit too much in different directions. And I would actually like it better if his pepper box could put out stunned like McCabe's pepper box.
Yes,
that would be sweet.
I mean, I don't disagree. I think better triggers would be. The thing is, in your changes, if he stays an enforcer, I think they should give him suits on some of these attacks and actions.
Yeah. And like you said, if you were a henchman, being able to get some of those triggers more reliably would be cool.
Right.
I actually kind of like the skinning knife on taxidermist better. Because it still has crit strike, it has get in there, and then you can also do taxidermy to make either a stuffed piglet or a flying piglet. So if Bert could do that, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, you should make Bert like more mobile, because if his for example, if he was to stay as an enforcer, he definitely needs like hard to wound and hard to kill. Like he needs like both or flinch. Something, because geez, dude, this guy goes down like a sack of potatoes. It's so sad.
Yeah.
I agree with the gun.
I think the other thing, because he's a versatile model, so versatile models should be solid in more than just one keyword or 2 keywords.
Right.
So I think also just maybe getting rid of the whiz-bang crap, like getting rid of hard knock life, getting rid of magical influence.
Blast resistant.
Like I was saying, just make like you were saying, just make him a henchman and get rid of that crap.
Yeah, I mean he can still be useful for the keyword by like handing out low, which is actually one of my picks is a whiz-bang model. So yeah.
All right. Well, what is your next pick then?
I might as well, since we're talking Whizbang, I might actually say it. I felt bad for giving Angel crap for the original Whizbang and for the title. Honestly, I wish that they handed out more glowy.
Yeah.
Because I think that the title, the offensive one, the direct damage one, should be better at doing more direct things. I know his keyword is fantastic. Like, he has way too many good keyword models, but he himself is like the weakest link.
Yeah.
So that's bad. And then I just want that. I want more either offensive glowy putting on people or defensive glowy on your own models. That's it. That's the only thing I would like to see.
So are you just kind of like your next pick is just Whizbang?
No, originally it was just going to be the title, but like it really fits for both versions of him. Yeah. I'm very sad. Like, whenever I played Whizbang recently, I say recently, but it's probably like the last 6-8 months, it didn't feel right. It didn't feel good. And your playstyle was significantly better than the playstyle I was trying to do, but I didn't enjoy playing it. It was good, but I didn't enjoy playing it.
Yeah, and I think if I was going to pick something to get improved with Whizbang, it'd probably be the lightning bug.
That makes sense.
If I was going to pick one, I think the master and totem for Whizbang probably does need to be relooked at again. And this might be a keyword that they need to just revamp. Maybe it's a keyword down the line where they're like, okay, let's get this more focused. Because some of the abilities kind of clash with each other and doesn't quite work. But the lightning bug, it seems good because it has like this elemental bolt that, maybe you can make irreducible damage.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would like that better if they just didn't get one-shotted so much. And then also the fact that I think elemental bolt, if you made that like 12 inches, I think it would be better and not a gun. I think the big problem with it is it's a gun.
Yeah, you could just give them more shockwaves to the keyword.
And also, New Horizon, if that was suited, I think would be better.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, they're a minion, but I see what you're talking about. I like suited New Horizon on enforcers, but not usually minions.
The problem is they do have magical influence, so you can discard glowy to get a suit. But, okay, what are you going to do? You're going to do that to get the tome for the bonus, and then you're going to do it twice, but that's 4 glowy, because you need it for full power, and you need to discard for full power.
Yeah.
So essentially you need 5 glowy on this model per activation to make them worth it. And it's hard to stack that much on one model.
Yeah, I think in general, if lightning bugs had a way to just generate glowy, they would be that support model that just gives out
what
glowy.
I think would help Whizbang a lot is if it was like Chi and you just get a glowy for activating, that would be pretty good.
That would be a huge and it's not OP. It's like there's a lot of people who's like, oh, if they have 1 extra glowy, it'd be like the most broken. It's like, no, dude, that you get 5 more extra glowy in a game. You get to do things. It's the fast combination has been proven that it's not like OP. So just, give them the extra glowy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, if glowy is not as good as Chi, right. And if you're okay with giving Chi at the start of an activation, I think we can give a little more glowy to Whizbang.
Yeah. Because right now, literally, the only thing that's holding together that keyword is, the 3 to 4 models, and that's it.
Yeah, I think because you got Alphonse, the Swine Cursed, Dabblers.
Sammy.
Dabblers are okay, and Sammy.
Sammy, there's one more, but I can't remember right now. My 4 were like Alphonse, Sammy, Swine Curse, and then one more, but I can't. I will have to look at it.
It might have been one of the new enforcers or whatever, the Hypnotoad or whatever the other dude's name is.
I mean, as much as I like the Toad, he's bad.
Nice.
Hopscotch, I think it's called, yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to our third then models in Bayou that we think need to be fixed.
So I'm going to assume that you have Wrestlers in your list.
I didn't because I assumed you were going to have Wrestlers.
See, that's the thing. I have Mancha Roja because I wanted.
Ooh.
I was hoping that you had. Well, it's specifically for a reason. Okay, so I guess my third pick is gonna be Wrestlers
/ Mancha Roja.
Yeah, because I want them to work together, and the best way to do that is you don't have to make the Wrestlers like super damage focusing, but give them a rule that says like once per activation, whatever damage they get, they can also have another enemy model within like a certain distance get it, kind of like a trading blows or whatever. It has to be on a post duel, but I would be fine with that.
I would just like to see more synergy between Mancha and the Wrestlers as well. Something like,
yes,
mask triggers to trigger extra attacks. So like almost like you're tag teaming.
Yes.
Maybe also being able to, like, if you look at Aaron Rajput's, he has I've got your back, but there's a ram trigger that lets you switch places and then take a swing.
Yep, tag in.
Yeah, that would be cool to get like tag in on there as well. And then also maybe like Mancha having like toss, so that way you can toss these Wrestlers around would be sweet.
Yeah, I mean, I named it the Bayou Rumble for whenever I was making the rules and stuff. Basically, Mancha Roja, while within 8 inches of a Wrestler, the Wrestler gets to pick a suit once per activation.
Yeah,
and
I think that would be fun.
Yeah, it's just like little things like that. Just give them a little bit more survivability and a little bit more damage. They're 5-point models. They're not gonna be like the most insane impact, but at least let them do something. Yeah, like Photon is saying, off the top rope, he's got a chair. There could be so many references. It's true.
Yeah, and I would maybe see like references to like iconic, wrestling moments, like maybe like Mankind getting thrown off the cage, or
yes,
Andre the Giant getting body slammed or something, or just something funny, just tongue in cheek about just wrestling.
I mean, you could literally put a trigger that does +2 damage, irreducible, and it kills the Wrestler, and they would get picked just for that one focus attack, charge in, get that trigger, and they just explode basically.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. There's so much like stuff you can just do to make this a better box. Like Mancha's not bad right now.
Yeah, he's not great,
yeah,
but he's fine.
Yeah, he's fine, and if he could do something to really just put something on his card to activate, those Wrestlers to not be terrible models, that would be fantastic. Yeah.
He also suffers from one thing that I wish more models had. Like, there was a bunch of models from like the first wave that didn't have abilities during the start phase. Like, it's kind of clunky. Like, for example, the My Time Is Now. It should not be his activation. It should be during the start phase.
Yeah,
just so it works. That way, there's synergy with the keyword, and he gets to have some defensive measures at the same time. Like, you can work through it instead of like having to force him to activate first.
Yeah,
just little things.
All right, I think my my third pick is going to be one that you don't expect.
Okay.
So my model that I think needs to be, she needs to be touched. Okay. And I used to bring this model all the time. And the problem is now there are just way more efficient picks that just do more. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this old gal has just lost her favor. And it's the other part of Pig Trouble Box. It's Gracie. I feel like Gracie's just kind of fallen by the wayside. And
that's sad.
Well, you look at her card and it's like, you don't know why, because she's armor 2. She has Stampede like normal Pig. She's hard to kill. She has all the good, Pig stuff, dropping schemes and, healing.
Yeah.
She has a 2-4-5 attack with crit strike, but remember she's an enforcer, so you can't guarantee that.
Yep.
Tear off bite, lie down, take a nap, and blank stare. All pretty good triggers, not bad, right?
Lie down and take a nap is. Continue. I have words about lie down and take a nap, but continue.
Oh yeah, and ride with me, which I used to use her a lot for the ride with me with a lot of my unpacks, but there's been so much mobility increase in Bayou where it's like, oh, Bo Peep's going to push stuff, Bog is going to, off the path somebody, or, whatever. There's tons of things that have come out since M3E started. And then
Correct.
Reckless, which is fine. But I think a big problem with her is just you have to declare a trigger. So if you
Yes.
get that tome trigger on her first AP, it is so bad.
Yeah,
And-
you have to cheat.
And she's a
down.
0-inch range melee, which also hurts.
Yeah. So I do remember us talking about this, so I do have thoughts. This is to the listeners from like a little bit of memory is that she's a targeting beacon. That's like a huge downside.
Yeah, defense
And-
4.
Yeah, and then the fact that defense 4, movement 4, those are huge.
That
and the fact that
move
she's
4
size 3.
sucks. With
Yes.
a range 1 melee, it is so bad.
Yes, and she doesn't have hard to wound, so if anybody has any flamethrower like attack, you are getting F'd in the A. It is just so bad.
And
So
not,
yeah,
not to mention, there's also just a lot of stuff in the game that ignores armor now,
yes,
just coincidentally.
yes. So I was gonna get to that part. Like, it's just a mix of the game got to a point where like she doesn't have the stats or defensive measures, and she's 8 points.
Yeah.
So like she's a targeting beacon that can really screw up your game plan, and her specialty is now shared by like 3 other very popular models that are. One is the same cost as her in Bo Peep.
Yeah.
And she's more survivable and also heals people.
Yeah.
Like, that's just outrageous.
Yeah, so it's really that lie down and take a nap. I also don't always love doing blank stare. There's just times where I don't want to discard a card and you have to for that trigger.
Yeah.
And then lie down will screw you over. Also, min 2 damage that does not feel good.
Yeah, no, this is an attack that you definitely don't want to have to like take more than once. It is really, really bad. And like I said, her willpower 6 sometimes defends her, but there are many cases that I've seen like stat 6 not be nowhere near enough to stop her being stunned or slowed.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating.
Yeah, her stat line is very frustrating for sure, because even stat 6 is, like you said, is not great. And then the defense 4 and move 4 just get abused. Because think about, even out of the new Ashes book, there's a lot of new models and the previous book that attack movement. So once
Yes.
again, this makes her a beacon of just like punishment. Like Tiri, her gun targets movement and it has a blast on it that then puts staggered out. And that can be so brutal.
Yes, and because of what we said, she's a targeting beacon, so I target your Gracie, and I can focus attack it, and since she's stat 4 and doesn't have hard wound.
Yeah, you're
You
going to
know
get us
for a-
great at least.
Yeah. At the it's so hard. Unless you like Black Joker, it's so hard to mess that one up.
Yeah.
It is.
And at that point, I think you would just bring like a Swine Cursed because they're better by a lot.
That's if you want to beat her. Like, the thing about Gracie before is that she was a very good beater that can also do movement shenanigans.
Yeah.
But nowadays, there are, like we said, like just saying Bo Peep and Uncle Bog alone, it's like, oh, Uncle Bog is like 10 points out of keyword. It's like, yeah, but he does like so much.
Yeah, and he filters cards, and he has laugh off, and yeah, lots of cool things.
So much.
All right, so what is your next model? I think we're into the 4th picks here.
Yeah. I mean, I really, 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 really miss the Bayou. Not the Bayou. The Beaucourt, the original Beaucourt. Can we please get that back? And I know he's gonna get picked out of keyword, but right now we got like Bo Fishbacher, and we got a whole bunch of other models that are just like straight up better. Can we just have the old one now? That these other models are still
So-
gonna beat them out?
What people don't remember, if you don't remember, is the Gatro Beaucourts. They used to be healers, but they also had an obey. So it lets you kind of do more. And they really just made them a healer now. Like their Swamp Spirits is like, okay, whatever. It's 2/3/3. You're probably
Yeah.
not ever going to do it.
Mhm.
But you're bringing them for healing energy. Consolidate power is fine. Protect Spirits is what is good. But really, Obey is such a strong action, and they didn't replace it with a strong action. They just replaced it with a I'm never going to use that action.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, whenever I use him, he's the only target with consolidate power. It's very sad.
Yeah, because everything else is probably a enforcer or henchman.
Yeah, to the point that he's no longer on my list. Like, instead, I bring the 4-point little beast thingy that is very annoying.
Well, and once again, look at what has been released since this change, and this change was only like 2 years ago, so it's not too far long or past. But
yeah,
we have Bowfishbacher, which so for probably 2 points out of keyword more, you can get a legit healer that is really good.
I think it's 1. I'm gonna verify, but I'm pretty sure it's just 1.
Yeah, it's 1 or 2 more points. You also have Bo Peep, who's kind of like this pulse healer, and that's only like a point more.
Out of keyword, so out of keyword, the Bokor is 7, and Bo Peep is 1 point more at 8.
Yeah, well, I thought Bo Peep was 7 points.
No. Oh my God, you're so right. It's the same point. Yeah. No.
So that's what I'm saying is like there's just healing models out there that just they do more and they're the same point cost or maybe a point more.
That is so sad. That is absolutely devastating.
So
and you're right. Bo is more expensive because he is not versatile like I thought. So he's 8 instead of 7.
Yeah, so just when it comes to healing, I think that's not a good enough reason to bring the Bokor anymore because there's just better out of keyword options, honestly.
Yep. Yeah, it's very unfortunate because I really want to play the model, and there's just no reason anymore. Like I said, I now just go for the 4-point beast because the 4-point beast at least has a wombo combo with the voodoo doll.
I'm just kind of looking just to see if there's anything else that would I went through the list and it was like, I mean, it's a minion, so it shouldn't be like amazing, but it should at least have a job. And it doesn't even have a job. Yeah, it's not a like you used to bring them because they were a pretty good healer in the game, and they also had an obey, which was pretty sweet.
Yeah, which late game, so like early in the game they stay basically towards your deployment zone, and then in late game they could do an obey here and obey there.
All right, well, my next model is kind of a fun one. I love these models. I think they're next to wrestlers, they're probably my favorite, like thematic fluffy models.
Yeah.
And I think it would be very good for the keyword they're in if they were more playable. I know people have experimented with them in some Brew 2 lists, but I don't think they're still good. But it's the Moon Shinobi. I think these models have some of the coolest poses in the world.
Yes.
But they're not good. They're the best. The best thing they have is their move 6 with stealth. And their 6, it's almost like the current card, if it was 4 soul stones, I might consider bringing. But for 6 soul stones, I'm just kind of like, it doesn't do enough. And they have Drunken Kung Fu, which is fine. But Staggering Punch, I don't think is good enough for that. It's only 2, 3, 4. The Staggered's fine, but honestly, it's like, okay, if you're looking for a good Staggering Punch, why not just bring the Drunk Monks? Because I think they're the exact same thing, but they're way more tanky.
So Staggering Monks, I mean Fermented River Monks, because I was like comparing them to. Yeah. They are on my honorable mention. The Munchinover are on my honorable mention, but they were on my list.
Nice.
Yeah, I had, like I said, it's like I have a few in my honorable mention because like. I want to see them on the table. But like Moon Shinobi, I forgot who it was. I'm pretty sure it was like, well, we have so many Bayou players. It's really hard.
Yeah.
But like somebody said, it's like there is nothing for the Moon Shinobi because there's no way to actually have them do their job. Like something related to either giving out poison or receiving poison. They do nothing with it.
Yeah.
Like they don't seem to be like a Tri-Chi model. It was one of those two things.
Yeah, and I think that they have too many similarities to what the Fermented River Monks do, and I think it would be better if you just gave them a separate role. So I think maybe doing stuff to something with ski markers would be kind of cool. Do what's that bonus that the Torikage have, the vanishing thing where they can go to a ski marker?
Ninja Vanish. Yeah,
yeah.
Ninja Vanish.
I mean, they're literally ninjas.
Yeah, just give
them Ninja Vanish.
Yep.
Have them reduce poison to drop ski markers. That would be cool.
Yep.
And honestly, I think that would be enough for me to bring them, because then now they do something with the poison.
Yeah. The biggest issue is that, if I remember correctly, the biggest issue that they have with the Moon Shinobi is that he doesn't do something with poison or like for the crew other than hand out drinks. And at that point, why not bring the fermented river monk who does both?
Yeah. There's been many times where I've brought 3 fermented river monks, and that was fine.
Yeah, if you make the Moon Shinobi also faster, that would be fantastic.
They're move 6. How fast do you want them to be?
I want them to have a third movement action. They don't actually do damage.
Well, Ninja Vanish would give them another movement ability.
Yeah, but I mean, with the setup, I'm just saying one more.
Well, so it wouldn't be with too much setup, because if there was a model with poison, you could reduce the poison to drop a scheme marker and then have them teleport to the scheme marker.
So basically, have whatchamacallit, synergy with shoujo, which I love, and I don't understand why people hate on that model.
I think Brew 2 players like shoujo more. I don't think any 10th Under players have effectively used her, but
yeah, I'm not a 10th Under player, but I play with her a lot, and I love shoujo. I also love pass tokens, so that's probably a reason why.
Yeah, so I think Shinobi would be a good one to fix. And honestly, dude, I've been looking at playing Brew 2 a little bit more, because I think some of the releases he's gotten has been really solid for his keyword. I think his keyword is in a really good spot right now.
Yup.
That's a good example of a nerf, but it kept him very playable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on then to our next... our 5th pick. So
this is my number 1 for the love of God, fix this model.
Okay, what's that?
McTavish.
Ooh, the old McTavish. I hear he used to be good maybe a couple editions ago.
He was fine in V1. I don't know in V2. I'm assuming that he was broken and they didn't want to have him on the table ever again, because ever since the beginning of M3E, this model has been just complete and total garbage.
Yeah, so what's the problem with this model? Like, there's a ton of text on his card, so why aren't people playing him?
So first off, he has 5 actions that are all bad. His Savage Bite is the best one, and it's still bad because if you look at the front of the card, he's missing any sort of defensive measure. Literally, this is the saddest defensive model. Oh no! I mean, you know how people whine about I'm gonna have to use soul stones for the first mate. You know how people, this model would use twice as many soul stones as the first mate.
That's all you got. You'd be like, okay, I got to use a soul stone to put you at a negative, and I have to use a soul stone to reduce damage.
Yeah, it's but he's supposed to have a gun. It's his gun is stat 5.
So that's my big thing. It's okay, so if you want him to be a range, why is the gun stat 5 and the melee stat 6?
Yes.
If you want it to be melee, you need something defensive on the front.
Yes. I mean, first off, squat both and give Savage Bite a plus flip. And Photon said the thing that I also wanted, which is for him to do something with Gators.
Yeah, he's like a gator wrangler, right? So he should be able to do something with him.
Yes. I don't want changes to the Gators themselves. I don't think that
they're fine, I think.
Yeah, I don't think that they're good at all, but I think Uncle Bog made, Gators playable. Because you can in good conditions, you'd be okay, now I'm gonna summon a Gator. And all of a sudden it's crap. I'm not set up, to stop the Gator from scoring points. Because that's actually what happens with Uncle Bog. Uncle Bog doesn't summon the Gator unless he's about to win because he summoned the Gator.
Yeah, and Toss in the Mud is a stupid action that he has. You never use it.
So I would like to point out, that action is on
Mancha.
Bad Juju. No. Well, it's also in Mancha, but it's on Bad Juju's card, and it just never gets used.
Yeah.
Literally, Bad Juju has one attack and ambush. That is all he has on his card, and by God, that model is amazing.
100% Photon. Why is there not a demise ability to just have a Gator just go on the loose? You know what I'm saying? And
that's another thing.
Dude, Dixon, you played War Machine.
Yeah, of course.
We should have something for Gators. Maybe if like McTavish isn't on the board, the Gators act like they would do if what was it in Hordes, where if you got something to a certain aspect, the Horde beasts would just go frenzied. I think if they were maxed out and you didn't take the frenzy off or something.
It wasn't that. It wasn't it wasn't any other spirit or whatever. No, it was that you have rage on them. If at the beginning of the turn you have to remove rage from them, and if they do not have, if they're not empty on rage, you have to roll against their threshold. And some factions, their threshold was like a 6 or a 7, right? Yeah. So for every rage, that threshold goes down by 1, and you have to roll 2 dice. What's the average on 2 dice there, Pete?
7.
Yep. And if their threshold is a 5 or a 6, you're like, well, this thing is about to be useless for a turn.
Yeah, but McTavish also having a demise to just get a random Gator would be super, and not busted. It would just be good.
Yeah, so literally, because like Photon literally had the same idea that I had. It's like, come on, just give this man more Gator stuff. Just, and make him good in range attacks. So making him stat 6 on the range attack, and I would say 5+ on the melee attack, so that if anybody gets close, he's still not gonna guarantee hit.
We're starting to get enough Gator stuff where I would like to see sometime in the next couple years, if we have enough Gators in Bayou, McTavish, I would like to see him fill the role that Barbaros has right now, where in Outcast you could play Barbaros as a master and you have a plethora of just Nephilim stuff that you can use. McTavish could do the same thing with Gators. Just be like, hey, Gators count for McTavish is keyword or whatever you want to do.
I mean, they already do. I just wish that for what you're saying, they could give him a second keyword and it wouldn't be broken.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So it's just there are so many little things that you could do to make McTavish actually picked, and he has 0. He has negative stuff in his card.
Yeah,
it's so bad.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. It's gonna be curious.
Another thing, because I thought it was very cool, funny anti-synergy, as in I was laughing my butt off.
Yeah,
he's supposed to be fast. Why in God's green earth do you want to put this man anywhere near the enemy?
That's fair.
And he's fast. I was like, really, guys? Did you just hate him? Did you just want him not to be played? But yeah, he's a holdover from the very beginning of M3E. They've gotten way better at design in M3E if you look at the models now. So I just want them to do the same treatment for him and other models that I'm going to be mentioning in the future when we go to other factions.
Yeah, so my last model that I was very disappointed in when I saw it, it's Stumpy. I'm like, this model's awful. And the funny thing is, you look at Stumpy's front of card and, it's willpower 4, movement 4. The movement 4 sucks, but, you're on a Wald Geist. What do you want?
Of course.
But the Wald Geist, don't they have a bonus to, get a move or a push or something?
They have ambush. And you can set up a underbrush, which is concealing, within anywhere on the table.
It makes sense for this model to also have something like ambush.
I want reckless on him.
It would make sense something, right? Mm-hmm. It has spread roots for a bonus, which is 1 damage until the end phase enemy models treat the area as severe terrain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so is this model tanky to take that? No.
Nope.
Nope. It's gonna die. That's cool. All right, well, what else does it do? It has Toss in the Mud. We just said Toss in the Mud is terrible. Nobody uses Toss in the Mud unless you have, a fire golem and you're like, cool, I'm going to dunk you and put out your fire.
Yep.
Besides,
Tossing the mud is a terrible action, and it's a Swamp Fiend action apparently, and that's the main reason why they have it.
yeah, and then you're like, okay, well, what else does it do? It has this weird axe attack where you can do 2, 4, 5. So the moderate kind of spikes a little bit.
Mhm.
You can give out slow and you have rampage. It's like this model's just there's nothing on the back of this card. The front of the card, like I said, the movement could go up a little bit, maybe. If you want a low willpower, that's fine. The rest of the front of the card's not bad. But the back of the card sucks.
I mean, I would say the front and the back both suck because he's an enforcer. Or she's an enforcer.
Yeah.
That's the main issue that I have with this model is that Stompy is an enforcer with terrible stats and abilities. That makes no sense.
The funny thing about Swamp Fiend, and here's the test you can do with Swamp Fiend, right? So play Zoraida 2, and if you use Witch's Brew on a model and it's still bad, that's a terrible model.
Yes, 1,000%. That's actually because
Witch's Brew, for people that don't know, gives you +1 to all your stats. So if you get +1 to all your stats and you're still a bad model, it needs to be fixed.
Yeah, it's basically +1 to all duels if you think about it. It's so dumb. It is incredibly dumb how Witch's Brew is the perfect way for you to tell if a model is bad or not.
If you do Witch's Brew onto McTavish, does that make him playable?
No, he's a okay model. He's not even fine. He doesn't get to like 5 out of 10. He gets to like 4 out of 10. He goes from a 2 to a 4.
Yeah.
So that's sad. Whereas like you put it on a model like say Bad Juju, who's already like an 8 out of 10, and he goes like 10 out of 10. This model is insane. I'm stat 7, 2-inch melee, planted roots, willpower 8. Come get me.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at this Waldgeist really quick because she's riding a Waldgeist, right?
Yeah, and Wall guys are strictly better.
They're stat 5.
So sad.
Defense and willpower. They're only move 2, whatever.
Yeah.
They have armor 1, which I don't think Stumpy has armor 1.
No, for some reason. Oh, actually, I think he... No, he doesn't. Yeah, I was going to say, it's like, maybe he has hard to kill or something instead, but like, no, he doesn't
ambush,
have either.
Can germinate. Let's see here. The Tangling Roots is 2, 3, 4, so that's a little less. However, I think Heave is a better trigger, Stagger is a better trigger, and Delay is a better trigger.
Yeah, first and foremost,
and they're the same point cost.
Yeah, ramming speed, stampede, and trample could be completely removed and replaced with other stuff like armor, and this model would like immediately get better by literally removing 3 abilities and putting armor. That's how dumb bad this model is.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna look at this real quick. I think you can. So ramming speed and stampede, I don't think they remove because she's a jockey. That seems like the jockey shtick.
But
if you keep those, I think armor 1 is okay because isn't like Toast armor 1 and
yes,
who else? I think there's another one that's armor 1 as well. But and they're not busted.
Yeah, no, pretty much I believe is just Toast.
Yeah, maybe.
I think that's it. I'm gonna double check, but I'm pretty sure it's just Toast.
Toast of the town.
And I love Toast. Oh, I was wrong. The other one is Barrelby.
Barrelby, I love Barrelby.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the two. Toast and Barrelby. And honestly, Toast could have been 2 armor and Barrelby could have been 2 armor and it would have been perfectly fine.
So I think yeah, and actually some of these don't have Stampede either, so you could remove Stampede and give it armor and I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, it doesn't. They don't. One of the things that I get upset about is that they jam not things that don't fit the theme onto models because it has the jockey keyword or it has this keyword, so therefore it's a bad idea. Don't do that.
Yeah, you don't want to pigeonhole yourself too much there.
Yeah, stick to theme.
I do want to ask you now that we're talking about jockeys, how you generally feel like the jockeys are starting to like how you feel about them. If you think that they're in a good space, like which ones maybe do you like more than the others?
No, I think they're all like fine, except for Bo Peep, who I love, and that's pretty much it. All the other ones are fine. Oh, and Toast, but I don't think of Toast as a jockey. Like that's the sad part. Toast is fantastic.
Toast is a jockey.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think of Toast as a jockey. and he's fantastic. Like, if you look at him, the only thing that he shares with the jockeys is ramming speed.
Yeah.
That's it. That's literally the only thing he shares with the jockeys.
Yeah, I think if we're looking at power level, I think Toast is the more powerful jockey. I think Bo Peep's probably the best utilitarian. I've seen some people playing with Squish and Squash, so I'm kind of curious if that model has some playability. I'll tell you the ones that I think are the least exciting.
Okay.
I think Fluffernutter is probably one that I wish was better.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really just Fluffernutter and then Stumpy. I think the rest of them have a decent place. Maybe Squish and Squash. I haven't looked at her too close.
Okay.
But those two I'm very like, I hate Stumpy, and I wish, and it kind of goes back to that almost whiz-bang problem. I just wish Fluffernutter did more for the keyword.
Well, I guess I shouldn't call them fine. To me, outside of Toast and Bo Peep, I don't think many of them get to 5 out of 10. They get like 4 out of 10. And then Stumpy is like a 3.
I like Ruffles a lot. I play Ruffles in Maw quite a bit.
Yeah, I know you do.
Well, it's just because it's so dang mobile, and there's just times where you go, cool, I got pass tokens with Maw. Ruffles is going to go last. I'm going to run in and push you off the Raid the Vault markers.
Okay. He is also cheaper than a normal chicken, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So
actually makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, because the normal Rooster Riders are good. They're going to do more damage than Ruffles, but when you need to get somebody off a spot, Ruffles is just better for that.
Yeah, he's basically a Rooster Rider for less, and honestly, doesn't seem like a terrible pick. So yeah, I guess he would be a 5, maybe a 6 out of 10.
And then Barrelby also just turns on the Cooper Jones, I'm going to make Gammon, and I think that's worth bringing him.
I am upset at Cooper. She's an honorable mention of mine. I would like for them to have a gimmick similar to the Gearlings, because the Gearlings are fantastic models. So why not give them a similar mechanic to the barrels? Because like the barrels I don't see them. I know that you like them. I know that you every now and then think about them, but I don't see them ever mentioned outside of like casual games.
Yeah, and Cooper seems a little too spread out sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think getting her more focused, because she has this flamethrower, but then she also randomly makes Gammon, which is weird.
Yeah, don't like. I would say make her the Minako Ray of Traichi.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, like literally, you have such a cool idea here. Go all into that idea and give her that job. And then Barrelby can be like her special, barrel bot or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, I can see that. And I think, and Minako's in a pretty good spot right now. They toned down the Paper Dudes demons, so.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
I know you've, and I think we're kind of transitioning out of this now, but
yeah,
I know you've talked about playing Oni now. Are you getting games in with Oni?
I mean, since we talked about it, I have not, because of my friend. I had to get ready for him. So
I know you're playing with the idea of actually playing this keyword for a bit.
Yeah, but I've only had 4 games with or against, and honestly, I loved it. Well, I told you about it, and that's the reason why you mentioned it.
I played it, Dixon, and as soon as I played it, I was like, this is not my playstyle. Like, it turned into, I'm going to just abuse these markers and hazardous terrain auras and then just have cool, combos off of that. And I'm like, this is totally a Dixon thing.
Yeah, it's the trolliest troll.
I was like, hey, Dixon, I'm not playing this, so if you want to, it's your baby.
I thought it was, I was like, yeah. I mean, that sounds like a fun idea. I'm gonna go more for the experience and the people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll play Oni. I had a lot of fun. I won some of the games against, or like, I think I won one of the games that I played with because the title teleports way too fast.
Well, and
it's a once per activation thing, but holy crap,
Suzaku is so dang good in that keyword now.
With the title specifically, it's like dang near broken. Because of
it's like a min 4 attack now.
I'm sorry?
Because if you set up, you have your rift markers.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And then you
Yeah.
have Amanzako's aura that puts out hazardous. So you just up we go people into it. It's min 4 damage, and then the bonus pushes you unresisted. So
Yeah.
that's another just 2 unresisted damage.
So you talk to Lance.
And other people just playing it.
Okay, because that was the game that I won. Was I played against Lance and I did that.
Yeah.
It was pretty fun. He had planned for a model to survive. I forgot what it was, and I was like, "Are you sure you don't want to use a chi or stone or whatever?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And I toss him into the aura of what's her face? Great demon lady, huge demon lady. You just said the name. And yeah, it was like a and there was a little rift marker right there, and he's like, Dixon, you're a dick. So I was like, what? Yeah, because I didn't tell him. It's like, I'm going to do this. I just was like, do you want to use this resource that may or may not save you? And he's like, I mean, I'm not gonna die because I have hard to kill. And I'm like, okay, Chuck.
And the last thing I wanted to talk about, Dixon, was we were talking in the fireside chat last night about getting something to help newer players get in the game. And we came up with Weird should revisit the idea of like a 2-player starter box, because the faction starter boxes just don't work for that. So just something where you have 2 factions and then you have a book that has like 2 or 3 scenarios of like how to play the game and build up to like a normal crew-ish. I thought that was a really good idea that Weird should do, but I was curious, one, what you think of the idea, but 2, also what would be 2 good starter keywords to put in a starter box like that?
I think so. This is the interesting thing. I think there's a good opportunity to like basically go into a new edition, quote unquote, but not like actually go into a new edition, because they can just fix the book missions as an errata. I mean, they could make it a special event and make it like a 4.5, 4.0 or 3.5, whatever they want to do it for marketing. I agree with literally everything that you said, as long as they add the mission where you have to like stand by a rock at the end of the turn.
Yeah.
I forgot I don't know if you remember Corrupted Idols, I think it was called.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah, it was the best mission for demos. It was by far. So if newer players get into the game, I would like for them to have at least that chance to play that mission.
I think 3 scenarios that teach you how to basically stand on a point, how to interact to do that, and then maybe how to kill to get points.
Correct.
And Photon talked about this last night on the chat and said that Vix and Titania would be a cool starter box because they're having a big fight in the lore.
I think the only problem with that one is too many markers on the Titania side. That's literally it, but I like the Vix, definitely, for sure.
But once again, harking back to War Machine, each edition they had a starter box, and they always had really interesting matchups and models in those boxes. And
I agree.
You could even do it to put, let's say it is the Vix and Titania, just for not arguing about it. You could even do like, hey, we're going to put a new model in there. And maybe then that's not good because then people have to buy it to get the new model. But I don't know. Something to maybe different sculpts just to make it kind of interesting.
I mean, personally, I would go with either Colette or somebody that's like, like make it cops and robbers. That would be my choice. But if you want to make 2 fighting crews, there's so many good choices though. Like I said, cops versus robbers, so you could play in like the guard versus, somebody like Rasputin or something,
or Bandit,
or Bandit. Yeah, exact. Oh my God, But like the problem would still be complexity. Those 2 keywords are not very friendly for newer players first game. So I am a huge proponent to simplify the starter boxes, like just remove actions and abilities and make it so that they can just build off of that.
If you haven't seen a starter box, right, when you do those scenarios, they often don't give you the full rules. of the model. They'll be like,
Correct.
hey, you have this attack stat and you have this stat and you have this ability. And then the next scenario, you gain more.
Exactly. So, I mean, yeah, you don't have to completely, remove all the abilities from the models and remake them, but you can just, like, simplify it. It's like, Dashel doesn't summon anymore. Or if he summons, he only summons, like, normal guard. Yeah. Like little 5-point models.
Yeah, the little guard patrol dudes.
Yeah, just make it... I'm just... Any keyword that you put in. Because, like, the Tanya thing, she puts a lot of markers. I mean, that could be a thing that you have to, like, work through.
Yeah, because I think my favorite starter for War Machine, I think it was it Sorsha, and then I think it was it Legion? It
was, I believe it was Sorsha 1, and I believe it was somebody from Signar, not Legion. But
oh, you're right, because they did their boxes with War Machine and then Hordes for the starters. So, yeah, you're right. It was Signar, and then the starter box for Hordes was Legion of Everblight versus Circle of Ouroboros, whichever two words were.
There you go. Yeah. I'm trying to remember what it was. But anyway, yeah, they can do similar things for War Machine. For Malifaux, obviously. It's just, I want them to... Like, War Machine, you could leave out all the rules and just simplify it by just... The models are very easy to play. Malifaux, I wish there was a way to just, like, remove abilities and actions.
Yeah, and
not confuse newer players.
Well, when I do a demo, I usually, unless it's something basic like armor, the rest of the abilities I usually just leave off. And I'm like, we'll get to those the next time. Let's focus on moving and attacking and flipping cards.
Yeah, and interacting. Because, like, interacting is, like, a very big part of the game.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Scenario 1, I would focus on, like, okay, let's attack each other. Scenario 2, I would add in interacting for whatever purposes you want. And then the third one, I would maybe focus on combining those two things. And I think it would be very good. And that's the thing, because there are so many people, I think, who are struggling to teach demos right now. And just a good starter box like that would help a ton. Because
raids,
you can just buy a box and then just be like, cool, you want a demo? Let's bust it out. Boom, here it is.
Yeah, raids is not a very friendly mission either, and it's the easiest one to teach people. But it's very aggressive.
Yeah.
So people learn the wrong lessons.
Yeah, you learn just to punchy things. Everybody wants to punch. Well, Dixon, anything else you want to say about Bayou models getting buffed before we wrap this one up?
The same thing I always say about, like, reworks. Henchmen should help minions. Enforcer should be better than the models of similar cost. And minions should be either support or get supported. So please, if you're going to do a buff or a nerf, keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good thing for sure. Bayou, I just feel like it feels weird because it feels like anytime Bayou gets too good, they get slapped down quicker than other factions.
For no reason.
Yeah. And like I said, I think Francois needed to be nerfed, but I don't think Ophelia and Rami needed to be touched. And they just did.
That was so unnecessary. Literally, when I remember opening an errata and just like, wait, Kin got nerfed again? Wasn't the last one enough? And yeah. Now you don't even see the keyword.
Some people are still playing them. I've seen a couple people on Discord talking about their game with Kin. Okay. And I just think, unless you are good with Kin and you just love the keyword and you're getting reps into it, like, I struggled playing Kin, especially after it got nerfed. Before it got nerfed, I even struggled a little bit. But now I'd be like, when I go back to Bayou, I'm not even thinking about playing Kin.
I don't think the last time I used a card from their keyword that was not, like, Maris. Maris is infamous, and that's the main reason why I use her.
Yeah, exactly. I still use Maris a lot, and still use Sammy a lot. Yeah. Well, Dixon, what should be the next faction that we move to?
You went Bayou. Go with Arcanist, because I would like to go in alphabetical order just to, like, not show any...
see, the thing is, the reason why I didn't do that is because we're already doing that with the GG4 episodes.
Right.
So maybe we go to the back of the line now and do 10
I like
Thunders.
that better. Yeah, I like that better. Let's do 10 Thunders next then. That way, you know, they'll meet in the middle, but like other than that, it's fine.
All right, we'll do 10 Thunders, and we'll see if we can get maybe somebody to join us on that one, because that might be fun to try.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, 10 Thunders have bad models. Is that true?
Oh my god. I mean, they do, but like, at the same time, it's like nobody really pays attention because like you see the same model over. I cannot wait for the nerf to either Ban Ying or Sensei Yu. My god, I'm so sick and tired.
Sensei Yu already
seeing
got nerfed.
Shut up.
He did.
Shut up.
Because I think his harsh lessons, I think, used to not be capped. I think it was every time you took damage, you got a chi, but now it's once per activation.
Oh no. It's so annoying. I hate that model now, and I didn't want to hate him because I thought he was cool, but now
Hi, Sensei. Hi. All right, well, we're going to wrap it up there. Thanks for all of you that joined us, and until next time, make sure that you guys are flipping cards and flipping tables, and we will see you all later.